Good evening, everybody. We're going to get going in a few minutes. If you're actually on YouTube and on live stream, I can't see the chat, but if you want to register for the webinar and come in so you can ask questions, I've given you the link in the chat there. So you can join us. So we'll get going in a couple of minutes or two. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to arrive before we get going. Thank you. Okay, everybody, thanks for your patience. So welcome to this evening's ACY Securities webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Please read through the risk disclaimer before we move along. If you have any questions as we're going through, just put them into the Q&A box. As I was saying before, if you're on YouTube, I can't see the chat box on YouTube. So if you want to chat to me, just register for the webinar. I've given you the link there in the chat and you can join with us. All right, so if you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor at ACY Securities. And I'm a full-time Forex trader. Been trading for more than 15 years and mentoring clients for more than 10. If you want to contact me about the webinars, then you can just shoot me an email at duncan.cooper@acy.com. If you want to connect with me, you can connect with me at the website, acy.com Market News tab, YouTube channel for ACY Securities Australia, or you can connect me personally on Twitter and LinkedIn there. So I'll just leave those on screen for a moment. If you want to jot anything down, feel free to connect with me. All right, as well, you can connect with us in the Telegram ACY Securities channel. To get access to that, you need to email nathan.bray@acy.com. I'll give you that link or email address in the chat a little bit later. And what you're going to find in that chat is that posting analysis based around the webinar series, looking at support and resistance and trend, and looking at the key levels that the market might be wanting to stop at today and turn around. And then we're looking at what levels price might be moving up to or back down to from those levels. So if you'd like to get access to that, just email nathan.bray@acy.com. And if you have emailed him before, he has been on sick leave. So I know he's back at work now. So I know he's catching up on any requests. So just give him a little bit of leeway and I'm sure he'll get back to you. All right, getting into the beginning webinar series. Just as an update, this week, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Sydney time, we're going to go through, bring it all together, support and resistance zoning. Now, if you're in the Telegram service, you'll see that a lot of my analysis that I'm posting, I'm actually using support and resistance zoning to come up with levels to trade from and at or around. So if you have a good understanding of that, then when you see my post, you'll probably start to understand exactly how I'm coming up with the levels. Post Joe, good evening to you. So that's worth watching if you're in the Telegram channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put into the chat some links. If you'd like to get access to my charts that you're going to see in a moment, then there's a link to download that. I'm going to give you Nathan's email address so you can send him an email if you want to get access to the Telegram. Here we go. I'll just give you a quick look at the Telegram. So here's some posts that we've been doing today. Myself and Lenny have posted some things in here. And for example, I'll touch base on some of these levels. This was the most recent one that I posted about 2 hours ago almost on the euro dollar. I'm looking at so I post a chart highlighting the levels that I'm watching for maybe the market to trade up to or down to, turn around. And at the bottom here, there's a description of what I'm looking at. I'm saying here that price is rallying towards the 113.86 day resistance level. Is price going to hold at that level, stop and reverse and move back down? Now, I'm not necessarily just trading at the level. What I'm looking for is price to get there and make a decision. Is it going to hold there? If it holds there, then I'm going to look at, okay, how am I going to enter? And in the webinar series, I give you 3 different ways of entering, or you might have your own technique for entering, but I'm giving you the levels that I'm watching and anticipating where price might turn around during the trading day. Sometimes I will drop down to a 15-minute chart to have a closer look, and I might be refining. I might be showing you a trend line that I'm watching, so on and so forth. Okay, so if you like the look of that, that will surely improve your education. If you're enjoying the education from the webinar series, I'm sure this will develop you through the course of many, many months. All right, so if you want to get access to that, just email Nathan. And let's get to my charts. And if you want to get access to my charts and the way they look, so I'm just going to go to the 15-minute chart so you can see I've got pivot points and MACD, session opening times, and other things on there. If you want to get access, then just download from the first link I gave you this WinRAR file, double click on it, and it's just on my own screen. Within it, there are folders to be moved to the MT4 platform. I've done a 2-minute how-to video, so just watch that. Just follow exactly what I do. It takes 2 minutes. If you really struggle and you can't get it to do what you like it to do, just contact Nathan via email. I'm sure he'll help you out. All right, so once you've done the upgrade, you will get my charts. It doesn't delete anything in the platform that you've already got, just adds things in. So in the template drop down, you get these 1, 2, 3, 4 templates. A few buttons on the toolbar get added in. And down here in the profile section, you get my 4 sets of profiles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tonight, I'm using the 12 pairs charts. Okay, so the 12 pairs charts, you get 12 currency pairs along the bottom here in 15-minute form, and a dollar index daily chart. I've got some extra charts open here too, but that's what you get. I don't spend all my life on a 15-minute chart, but that's how it's set up when you first get them. So with that in mind, if you want to get my charts, then just do the download and upgrade. Buzz Joe, where do you get the file from? I've just put it in the chat. So it should be in the chat. If you can't see it in the chat, maybe you've got an Apple product. Sometimes they're a bit finicky. Then if you send me an email, I'll send you the link. But it should be in the chat, okay? All right, let's get into tonight's analysis. Now, some of the levels I'm showing you tonight that I'm watching, I've posted in the Telegram service. So ahead of time today, earlier in the day, 50 pips ahead of time, I was coming up with levels that I'm going to be watching today, tomorrow, for price to maybe start to reverse around that. So I'm going to talk about those levels. And the first pair I want to look at, we'll start with the Aussie Yen. We'll just start with the Aussie Yen and move from left to right. In fact, I just want to click through them all, just see what price is doing, because I might see something I want to discuss right on point. I just want to see if I'm seeing anything, or I might start with the euro dollar, and this is the day chart. What I've got is got some levels drawn in, and at the beginning of the week, what I am doing in the Telegram service across 6 pairs, I'm drawing in the support and resistance for the week. So if you struggle with support and resistance, get yourself into the Telegram service. You can follow along with how I'm drawing support and resistance at the start of the week and get your levels right. So this is the euro dollar, and I've got a number of levels drawn in. but if I discuss what they are, weekly support down here, 111.21. There's another level here, 112.72. I've actually, if price does move down, got another weekly level here that I need to put in at 111.86. So these are all my key levels that I'm watching through the course of the week. So 2 weekly levels of support, 111.21, 111.86. This level through here is day support at 112.72. And we started up here at the start of the week, and that's been a very valid level of support. We just got shy of it. And we're moving up to daily resistance over here at 113.86. As I said, 2 hours ago, I posted that I was watching that level. Further up, we've got weekly resistance at 114.82. Our daily level here at 114.95, and another weekly level up here. All right, so this has been recorded. You can go to the YouTube tomorrow and watch all the levels and get your charts set up with the levels that I'm discussing right now. But the key level I'm watching is 113.86. We've had this triple top form at the weekly level of resistance over the last kind of week. And the question is, are we now going to reverse back down the range, maybe test weekly support levels down here in the short term, maybe for the long term as well? Excuse me a moment. Just being invaded by an insect. Okay. All right, so I'm watching this level. Now, moving down to a 4-hour chart, we can start to see a little bit of withdrawal from that level. I could put a fib in across that range, that whole range that we moved down. And we're a bit short of the 62% level, but what I'm asking myself is this key level of daily support or resistance that we broke below, is it becoming resistance? So it was support, we broke through it in the week. Is it going to act as good resistance? So it's going to move to the 15-minute chart. Now, obviously, we can see it withdrawing down from that level. Now, an aggressive trader might just trade at that level with a stop above. If you're a position trader, ways that I do this is, if it's a level that I really like the look of, I'll just trade at the level with a 100 pips stop above, targeting 200 or 300 pips down the track. Okay, now, I don't know if this level is going to hold, but sometimes that's the way I do trade. I want to take a position on a pair because I'm seeing a start of a downtrend. And if I see a good level I want to trade at, I will often just trade at the level 100 pips stop above, give myself a risk to reward target of 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 down the chart or up the chart, depending on which way I'm trading. So potentially this is how you could trade this level if you wanted to. But if you wanted to be more tight in your entry, then you're obviously going to need to wait for a bit more of a clue that you're getting a reversal here, like a trend line break to the downside. So we don't have that yet, and price could pop back above that level. So at the moment, from a intraday chart perspective, I'm not seeing a trend line break. Yes, I could be trading at the level if I wanted to. Another little area that the market could still further pop up to, there is the figure up here, 11400, and we could trade a little bit higher through this level through the trading day, maybe up to the 62% level, 11412. All right, through this trading day. So ideally what I'd like to see by the end of the day is that we've closed below that level, and then tomorrow intraday I could be looking for a very tight entry to trade down, or I could be trading straight at the level. But what I'm anticipating is that with that level, back to the daily, we've got this triple top up here. How holding are we moving down the range? Okay, longer term, if we turn it into a weekly chart, getting short on this pair with that reversal in mind. The height of that double top or triple top pattern up here, projected below the support low, the 200% level is down here at 107.68, which is lining up with some support over here. But long term, over the next maybe month or two, we could, if this double top, triple top holds and is a true reversal pattern, we could be seeing a good long-term move down the range. Time will tell. All right, so that's why I'm looking at the opportunity to get short on a failure at that level. All right, I just want to click through as well, see what's going on with other pairs before I go through the ones that I really want to talk about. All right, we're starting the dollar yen here now. In terms of trend, the dollar yen, this is the weekly chart. We're having high tops and bottoms moving up. We had a high top here to a high bottom, and we came up to that top and we put in a, you'd call that, I would guess, an inverted hammer or a pin bar, and we closed back below this weekly top here at 115.51. Yes, we're trading above it at the moment, but there's a potential of a double top up here forming. And as I've highlighted here, we've got a little bit of negative divergence as price moved up to that top. So we're in an area where the weekly trend is heading up, but it's been held, possible double top may be forming there. So are you a buyer or a seller? That is the question. We're in a good area of resistance here. These two lines drawn up at the top, weekly resistance at 116.35 and fractionally above at 116.46. Go to the monthly chart and look left. Some old support lows here that we're trading into. So we're into a monthly level of resistance, getting maybe a double top forming. And what we've done is we've obviously traded down a couple of days and we're having a bounce back up. Now, this could obviously just be moving all the way back up and want to move through resistance, or is it putting in its first lower top? That is the question. So you need to make your own mind up whether you think the trend is being maintained, can it move through, or we're at a key area of resistance that the market might reverse at. So if I drop down the 4-hour charts, what I do see as we come up to this top here, that there is negative diversions on the 4-hour chart price. So that's giving us a bit of a sniff that there might be a reversal on our hands. And then price has been heading back up, that drop. So we dropped, just drawing a fib. We held at the 62% level yesterday. Now we do have some news coming out. I think I'm just going to go to the news items just quickly. For tonight, this is my time, Queensland time. So 11:30 p.m. my time, we've got US retail sales and core retail sales. And another thing that could drive the market is at 5 o'clock in the morning, my time, 6 o'clock if you're in Sydney, FOMC meeting minutes being released. So there's a few items there that could drive price one way or the other. So just bear those things in mind as we get back to the charts. So at the moment, when those items come out, this could get driven further up or it could get driven further down. So what I'm noting is that we're at a 62% level here. There's a potential that we've dropped, we're rallying. I've got the 4-hour negative divergence showing. Are we going to have a continuation pattern to the downside? That's a rally maybe. Are we moving this way? So what I'd like to see, I probably won't be trading this pair of looking straight until tomorrow after those news items because I'll be asleep in bed. I might still be up for the US news at 11:30, but I won't be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Is if we do move down, close down today, then I want to see a close below this 115.51 level. Back to the daily. That's this high here, which we've been, failing at. We moved above, back below. Will we fail back below it again today on a close? If we do, then it's really game on for the sellers. If we continue up, there's the chance that the buyers are in control and they want to move up through that monthly resistance area at the top. So there is a potential for a double top. Now, if the double top comes in, we start to see weakness and move below 115.51, then my double top price projection, we've moved down and then we're rallying back up from that low to a double top. The 200% level below that range is down here at 110.60. So there is a potential for a large move down if the double top holds and runs to fruition. So where it is now, if you start to see weakness, is a great area to manufacture a trade setup to get short. So it's worth watching for weakness there. Of course, it can still move up and retest the high. We probably just need, another 24 hours to see what price is doing there. In any event, I'll say this all the time, when I'm in a key area of resistance, I'm never going to be a buyer because I don't want to buy into resistance. If it doesn't reverse, I'm just sitting on my hands. Now, if we get a clear break above resistance and that resistance becomes support, then I'm in buy mode. At the moment, I'm in sitting on my hands mode. I'm seeing a double top reversal pattern forming. I'm not quite sure yet. All right, so monitor, do we close below 115.51 today? All right, getting to the Aussie Yen. Now in the Telegram, I'll show you the post today. Just gonna find it for you. All right, where are we? Just to show you that what I'm posting. This was the chart I posted earlier today. I was highlighting the 82.96 to 83.05 level, which is the daily resistance and the 62% fib retracement level. Is that an area where the price could rally to and fail and then move back down? Okay, so let's have a look at the charts. To the day chart. And the key levels that I've got drawn in, most of these are weekly levels, except for this one here. So I'm just going to take that one off for the moment. Go to my weekly chart. And we're a bit range bound on the weekly. It's a bit uncertain in that we actually moved down this way to a fractional lower bottom, lower top, higher bottom. So we have a lower top, higher bottom scenario. So which way is it going to move? The buyer's still in control. I note last week we had a very good rejection candle from this weekly level of resistance. And then there's another level further above. So we moved up to an area of resistance and held and rejected last week. And we are heading back up that rejection at the moment. So, and this high over here at 82.01 is acting as some form of support intra-week. So are we heading all the way back up to resistance? When we get down to the day chart, the actual trend on the daily is up in terms of higher tops and bottoms, but we've had this big rejection. We found some support at 82.01 and we're having a bounce. And the question is, up here, that rejection, is that where we see a downtrend wanting to form from? Or is this uptrend going to continue up? It could go either way. So you have to decide yourself, what do I think is going on? It is a bit mixed. So, if you're a buyer, what you would have wanted to be doing is looking for an opportunity to buy up from 82 weekly supports. I actually managed to sell very close to up here last week. Positions at break even. I'm hoping I can trade this down the range. So I'm on the sell side, but you could be a buyer buying up from 82. At the moment, we're kind of in the middle of between 82, that's 83.97. So between 82 and 84, we're at 83 at the moment. So we're right in the middle of that range. So now we're going to have a fight between the buyers and the sellers. We're going to push it up or push it down. Now, a couple of tools that I'm using, we are at a level of resistance at 82.964. Move to the 4-hour chart. And that big drop off last week, we're at the 62 at 83.05. So then the question is, this is a good level that you could expect a reversal from. You just have to decide now, do you get your trigger? If you like that level, do you get your trigger to take a trade? Of course, if you're a buyer and you bought down at 82, you're wanting price to break through that level and move up. So if you're on the bought side of the market, you need 83 to break. If it doesn't, you probably need to think about getting out of your bought position because your profits are probably going to erode. If you're not in a position, it's too late to buy, I think, because At the moment, we're at resistance. So do you want to buy into resistance? Probably not, but that's up to you. So I will be focused. For me, I'm focusing on this area. Can it hold as resistance at the moment? Down to the 15. You can see there we've got the 62% level, the figure, and that daily level of resistance, 82.96. So the question is, we have some news items coming out for the day. So what I'd like to see by the start of tomorrow, where do we close? Do we close above or below today? If we close above, that's good for the buyers, and probably we're heading up to 84. So then watch for 83 area to become support intraday tomorrow. If we close below today, or, we might reject there today and you might see an intraday entry. I mean, an intraday entry, if you're keen to get in on the sell side, might be a simple trend line break at the area. We do have some news items coming out, so you might want to wait to see what the news items do. Let the dust settle for that. And then tomorrow, tomorrow we might close down at 82.70, for example. Well, what I will be looking for tomorrow is, do we get a further rally back up and failure at the 83 area? If we do, then we might be expecting a day down tomorrow. All right, so there's a couple of ways of looking how you could trade this. At the moment, it's not coming back below 82.96 at the moment. It's just working its mind out about the 83 level. But we've had a nice rejection candle on the 15 in the sell zone of the red pivots, but no real trigger there, for an entry. I went through the MACD trendline break, MACD cross setup, actually yesterday in the webinar. So we don't have a trendline break yet. We don't have a MACD cross yet. Now those things might come together through the trading day. What I can notice is, if we do get a cross down a MACD here over the next hour, this area of MACD is lower to this area, but price is higher. So there's a bit of negative divergence showing there, potentially could form on the 15, but no trigger yet to trade. But you can monitor that level. Aussie dollar, I posted this level today. Now this pair looks very similar in terms of its daily chart to the Aussie Yen. It's making higher tops and bottoms. On the weekly chart, it's making lower tops and bottoms. So daily is going counter to the weekly. Go to the weekly. We've got a lower bottom here. It's bouncing on monthly support from over here. But structurally at the moment, until you break above that weekly top, structurally on the weekly chart, it is still on a downtrend. Yes, it's having a rally. We had a bit of a, there's lots of wicks on these weekly candles. They're not closing up at the top of the candles. We're getting wicks or shadows. So price is moving up, being met by the sellers, and come the end of the week, we're getting wicks on the candles. So that might be an indication that the sellers might be still in control long term. Time will tell. But the market's been operating on these two levels here, 71.06, 71.70. 71.06 has been acting as support over the last week. 71.70 has been acting as resistance. Daily, then what you'll see is 2 days back. So Monday we traded down at 71.06. And at the moment, the market's asking itself, can it get back above 71.70? Some resistance here. Some old support there. Keep going left. How important the 71.70-ish to 71.2 levels is. The high here, resistance high there, and then we've got the weekly level resistance there. So it's a well-worn area of support and resistance used by the market. Got the message coming in. Buzz Joe, yeah, the Aussie's got a bit of a bid at the moment. But if we draw a fib across that weekly range, you'll see that last week, where did we stop last week? In the 79% retracement level. So have we declined with the trend on the weekly structure, rallied back up to 79 to then top out, put another lower top in on the weekly to trade down. It's questionable, but that is a significant level failure point on the chart where a lower top on the weekly could come in. So I'm actually in two minds at the moment. It's, you know, the weekly's down, the daily's up. I think obviously we're trading at 71.79 at the moment. Just going to leave that on, move to a 4-hour chart. And so 71.70 is the level of resistance that I'm using. The 62% level. So last week we failed at the 79% level of the weekly range. So actually that range down there, I showed that last week. I go to my other charts. Here we go. This pink area, that's the candle range of last week. So I've actually got my fib from high to low. That's the exact same fib I just showed you. Failed at the 79 last week. So it's 79% of the candle range of last month's range. So we're trading back up inside the candles range. Failed at the 79 last week. Today we're at 62. Look left, 4-hour resistance, 4-hour resistance, resistance, hold support is resistance. So we are in a very clear area where the market could fail at to move down. So the question would be, you know, we have some news items coming out today. This is an area where the sellers could take control. Do we close above or below 71.70 today? Closing below puts things back in the hands of the sellers. And then that would maybe mean we're going to trade back down to have another retest of 71.06. Okay. So intraday, I'm going to go back to my other charts. At the moment, intraday, don't have a trigger. You know, if we're just looking at a trend line break for a reversal down from this possible resistance area at the moment, there's no trend line break, but monitor 71.81, that's the 62 level, and the 71.70 level. If price action moves back below that, you get a trend line break, MACD cross, that's giving you a possible trigger to trade down from the 71.70 resistance area back down for a retest of 71.06 weekly support. Okay. All right, Euro Yen. Day chart. I've got lots of lines on here, but the levels I'm focusing on. Last week, we moved up to this level here, which is 133.12. So that's a level of monthly resistance, which go to my monthly chart, you won't be able to see it. So I'll go on a weekly chart, look left. There's a monthly top over here at 113.12. We traded above that level, fell below it. Fractionally traded above that level again, fell below it. Last week when we were screaming up on positive news for a while, I actually just got to the level pretty much to the pip and held. So on a day chart, we screamed up, held, and then the next day completely dropped from monthly resistance. So that's a significant thing happening in the market. Does that mean that we're failing at monthly resistance up here? Are we going to trade all the way back down the range to monthly support down here? So this level here, I'm watching this level today. Do we close above or below it today? 131.59, that's weekly resistance. What we have been doing as we move down, we got back below this weekly level of support or resistance at 130.73, came down a day support at 130.15, and obviously we're bouncing back up. So I just want to know, does this close above or below 131.59 by the end of the day? If it closes below, the sellers are in control maybe for a move back down to retest where it's come from earlier in the week. All right, let's move to the 4-hour chart. Fib from high to low. See how we got a little bit short of 62. So we're seeing quite a number of 62% rallies on the pairs I'm showing you today from the drop of last week. Drop last week, rallying to approximately 62% level on the Aussie dollar, Aussie yen, Euro yen here. All right, so is that the focal failure point. So 15-minute chart, I don't know if it's giving you a trigger yet to trade down. I'd like to be a trader on a setup below 131.59 ideally. I don't see a setup yet. Just, I wouldn't want to be selling into 131.59 because that could act as support. You can see it at the moment. Intraday at the moment is acting as support on the last couple of candles. But if we got a trend line break, we know if we got a good candle closing below the trend line break and below 131.59, maybe that's starting to show you that we're failing at that key level of resistance. At the moment, it could be acting as support. So I just monitor, that's the level I'm watching for a failure to trade to the downside. Now, if you're a buyer, let's go back to the daily, then, if your bias is on this pair is to be a buyer, you really should be buying down here at day support on a lower time frame once you start to see that hold, because right now you're in a resistance area. Now, if we close above this level, 131.59, and then intraday tomorrow that level shows as support, then yes, you could be a buy to trade up to retest 133.12. All right. But right now, as a buyer, you're kind of buying into resistance if you're buying right now. All right. You need to have proof that we're clearing above resistance. Is that level starting to show some support for you? All right. So for a buyer, you really need to have bought further down. I don't think you should be buying into this level. But if we close above today, moving in tomorrow, then it much more favors the buyers as that level becomes support. So you can monitor that level to see whether it starts to fail. As we have some news items coming out which could drive the market clearly up or down on some of these pairs. So I have to be aware of the news and the danger of the news. But if we close clearly below 131.59 tomorrow, let's say we close at 131.30 today. We could trade back up very close to 131.59 intraday tomorrow, fail, and then look for an opportunity to trade down on that failure. All right. All right, euro dollar, we've covered this one. Let's just have a look at what it's doing. Now, what it might be doing, if you're good at reading intraday price action, looks like it's coming up maybe for an intraday retest. The retest is rejecting is that resistance, forming now at 113.86. Of course, you can just be waiting for, difficult to draw a trend line through here. There's no swing points. There might be a minor swing point there. Let me just check. Not really. It's a bit difficult to draw a trend line because you're going to go straight across price action here. So another technique I use for an entry is I have a swing point form there. I'm going to go through this technique next week. That little swing point there that's forming on the chart. A swing point break can be an entry point, because if we break below that swing point, we have a lower top forming. We'll get a lower top swing point, breaking, price action breaking below this higher swing point, changing the 50-minute price structure to down. Okay, so you could just be waiting for a break of that area. Stop, I'll put my stop above the high point, 1 pip plus the spread. The risk on that would be nothing more than about 22 pips. And when you consider that we could be trading all the way down the range or below this lowest point of weakest support if it's a double top pattern, but just down to the lowest level on my chart here at the moment, that's 250 pips away with a 22 pip risk. That's, what's that? That's about 12 risk reward, 1 to 12. That's how you create a great risk reward trade. So you can monitor that. All right, pound yen, it looks very similar to, just going to check my chat. And just making sure I've answered everything. Okay, I'm up to date. This is looking very similar to what we're seeing on the dollar yen. I did a video post of this analysis in the week. It's on our YouTube channel. Is this a double top forming at monthly resistance? We're going to get rid of a few lines here. Just in the short term, just to show you that these three levels are monthly resistance levels, these lines. This is monthly support. And what we're seeing on the monthly chart is we're contained in a range here. And last month we had a spinning top, which is negative at the top of the range. And we're trading back up into that resistance area. Are we going to move down, back down to support? Weekly chart. You can see that we traded up into the area, back down, traded up into the area, back down, traded back up into it. A negative candle on the close last week, wick at the top there, down to the daily. So there's the double top. That's the range of the pattern. Projected below the 200% level comes down just underneath my level of monthly support down here. So putting in my other levels of my other lines that I had drawn in here. There we go. Let me just get rid of that fib. All right, so the double top's there potentially. As I showed you the height of the pattern, I can draw the height of the pattern in. Projected underneath. We'll just be underneath monthly support. So if it does come to fruition and we trade down the range, I'll just target monthly support. I wouldn't be trying to target underneath because it might not break. But as you can see, there's a lot of room. In fact, in the video analysis I did, I had this weekly level here, 14900 drawn in. And I was using that as my target level. So let me just get that in. It's 149, not 148. All right, so I'd actually be targeting at 149 or just above if it did move down the range. So what I'm seeing is we've rejected, and this is doing the exact same thing as the dollar yen. It's coming up. It's actually retraced 62% at the moment. I'll move this to a 4-hour chart so we can have a clearer look. That dropped down. You'll see that we're at the 62. This line going across here is at a daily chart resistance point. So we've got daily chart resistance that we're trading into. We're trading right at it right now. It's approximately the 15700 level. And by the 62 levels at 15700, this level's at 156.90. So this looks kind of identical to the dollar yen. So if the dollar yen moves down, this is going to follow suit. So both pairs are kind of tracking each other here at the moment. So pick one that you might want to trade, but then watch the other one. Is the other one doing the exact same thing? Are you seeing correlated pairs moving, correlatedly, if that's a proper word? So I'm anticipating maybe that we've rejected at the double top point. We're rallying maybe to the 62. If we can get a negative close today, then we might be starting to move down the range. Now, what I'd like to see, I showed this in my analysis video earlier in the week. This level here at 156.07, which is monthly resistance. When we moved back below it last month, down here, it moved below 156.07 here and became resistance. So that's what I'd like to see it do here, is move back out of the monthly resistance area to trade down the range, and 156.07 becomes resistance. I want to see that happening like I saw over here. I'll look to trade down from resistance as that once more forms. Okay, so I'm just monitoring to see whether or not, yeah, we get a failure at this 62% level. And obviously I'm looking for, that is the first move down from the double top. This is a rally. And this for the start of the move down, maybe for a long-term move down, that double top. That double top price projection. Targeting down here. Now, a number of weeks are going to have to probably occur for that to come to fruition. So we're in the maybe in the early stages of the reversal. All right. So just start to watch. Do we reverse? If we start to reverse now, if you were so sure, it's up to you. I'm not suggesting you do this. If you're so sure that this is a great positional trade and it's reversing, of course, from a positional play using that fib tool, you could be selling at the 62, putting your stop loss above the 100 level there or above the monthly resistance level. That would, of course, mean that you need around about 130 pip stop, but the potential target down to weekly support is 800 pips. So do the maths, that's like probably, I don't know, 1 to 6 risk reward. All right, just going to check my chat. Buzz Joe, you're saying maybe a head and shoulders pattern forming, maybe, but I mean, there's an obvious double top here that might be forming, and then we could be coming down and starting to form a head and shoulders. Not a perfect looking one, but kind of a looking one, yes, in this 62% area to initiate the first thrust down. And then, you know, how do you get on board for the move down? So we're maybe in the early throes of a reversal. It's always great to get into the early throes of a reversal, because then if you're in the early throes and then it really starts to move, that's where you can make a very good risk to reward and a very good profitable month or two. Okay. So that's my look on the pound yen, pound dollar. This at the moment, this is the day chart. If I just get rid of a couple of lines at the moment, go to the weekly chart. Really, I've got two weekly lows here. 35.71, 136.02. The market keeps trading into those lows, trading back down from those lows. So they're acting as resistance. Trend is actually mixed to down in that we've had a series of lower tops, lower bottoms, came up to another lower top formed. We have a higher bottom forming, but no higher top. So it's mixed. If you look back in time when we started this downtrend to a lower bottom, lower top, we had a higher bottom here at 136.02, put in another lower top before the trend then continued. So is that the same thing going on here? There's a bit of positivity coming in the market, so we get mixed following the downtrend formed. We do have a downtrend up to a lower top from a lower bottom. Higher bottom makes it mixed. Are we going to hold at 136.02 or 135.71 resistance? Put in a lower top here and then continue down. Or, you know, we could continue up. But structurally over the last year, we've been in a downtrend. For a short period, we got mixed. We had a higher bottom, back to a lower top. Is this the same scenario here? Time will tell. What we're seeing on the day chart is that it is a bit range bound. Just putting in my lines I just deleted. Don't need that fib. So what you're going to see is these two lines here, 135.71 and 136.02. Those are my levels of weekly resistance I just discussed. And then we have a daily level of support at around about 134.90. And we're getting support there, but we're getting resistance at 135.71. Sometimes we're moving up, wanting to trade above 136.02, but then we collapse. Look at the wicks. All right, lots of wicks on, lots of candles here where it moves up into that resistance area and puts in wicks. So that means to me that the sellers are waiting to take the buy orders. All right. It's not looking very positive when we get up to 136. We are getting some support at the moment at 134.90. MACD is not telling you anything because we're range bound. So on the 4 hour, you can see today we've come back up for another touch of 134.571. I draw a fib from high to low across that range. We could trade up to the 62% level, 135.83. We could trade up to 79, which is 136.09, which is 7 pips above 136.02 weekly resistance. So you could watch those levels for failure. I'm more on the seller side of this pair than the buying side because of the overall structure that we've been seeing for a complete year. Complete year has been lower tops and bottoms, bar one little period of a higher bottom, still lower top. So at the moment, we've got a higher bottom, no higher top. All right, so time will tell. Obviously, we're still waiting on all these pairs, like it happened yesterday. Bit of positivity came out yesterday from the Ukraine-Russian war news affair that's been going on in the news. Is Russia going to invade Ukraine? Russia withdrew a few troops away from the border yesterday, so the market suddenly then popped up. But of course, they could move back tomorrow, and then it'll pop back down for sure. So there's lots of uncertainty in the market. So you've got to make sure you're using your stops. You're not risking too much, because yesterday, intraday, before the London Open time, everything was looking negative intraday. And then suddenly this headline came out and boom, everything pops up. So we've been trading up for about 1.5 days, or a good day at least, moving into the second day. But what we're really doing is maybe just trading back up to resistance where the sellers are. And if we get another negative headline, we'll just move back down. So we can see here, move it to the 15. We are seeing a reversal up here at 135.71. And it's really, that was the reversal yesterday. I highlighted that level as a potential level in the Telegram service yesterday, and it worked out a treat. I said it might fail up here, targeting back down to 135, and that's what it did. Here we're just faltering at 135.71 and yesterday's high point. So if you thought that was a good level, you could just be waiting for a trendline break, MACD cross. It's not quite come together yet. Might get that trendline break on the close. Hasn't had a MACD cross yet. That might need another candle or two. So, but as you can see, you can monitor that. If you like that level, you can obviously look to your trading strategy to trade down from that level. All right, so those are the pairs that I'm really focusing on at the moment. Just want to click back through them. As I say, Aussie Yen, I'm looking to see if we can fail 82.96. Seeing some weakness there on the candles, but we're obviously still fractionally above that level. Aussie dollar, looking at 71.70 to 71.81. Just price fail there. That's right where we're at. Euro yen. Can we fail at 131.59? Intraday, right now we are. Obviously, you need to make your own personal decision. Is that a level you like? But intraday at the moment, we're moving down. Euro dollar. Swing point break is just occurring intraday there. So the euro dollar and the euro yen are very highly correlated, especially at the moment. So what we're seeing, if I move these to 4-hour charts, euro dollar is failing at resistance, daily resistance. Euro yen is looking similar, failing at daily resistance from over here. So we may well be seeing a topping out process today for a move down through the course of the week. All right, I just want to revisit dollar yen. It's not doing much. Probably waiting for the news. It is showing a little bit of negativity on the 15. But what I'd like to see is, do we close below 115.51 by the end of the day, and then looking tomorrow for that level to become resistance once more. Okay, so any questions on that? I've got 7 minutes to go. If there's a pair or an instrument you want me to look at, then just shout it out. I've got a bit of background noise. Helicopters coming over my house at the moment to the hospital. Sorry about that. Anything you want me to go through or revisit? If there's an instrument you want me to look at, we could perhaps have a look at gold. I might just wait 30 seconds for the chopper to pass. All right, it's almost gone. I live very close to the Gold Coast Hospital, about 3 kilometers at the maximum. It's good in an emergency, but not very good when the emergency chopper flies by. All right, so let's have a look at the monthly chart. We're very range bound on the monthly. The monthly high over here, which is at 119.20. And what we've seen here is that we've moved below, formed a level of support. We became resistance once more at the top, became support. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that we're range bound. And we are heading up to a slightly lower top that may be formed here in the range, which would be obviously clear resistance. So if we can move above that high, we've got another high in the way. So we're in a long period of consolidation. And what we'll suggest is long periods of consolidation head towards, when you break out, a long period of trend. So one way or the other, this pair is going, or instrument is going to break into a strong trend. But at the moment, obviously, it hasn't done that yet. So you just have to be patient. So that level, 118.77. You know, if you're a buyer, you got to be aware of that level because we're trading straight into it. So on the weekly, we might have a double top forming. Look left. From a weekly perspective, you're back at resistance where earlier last year in May, June, approximate time, we came above that level and came straight back down to monthly support. So now we're coming up to that level and showing some selling pressure. And we've got a bit of a higher support area here from these other areas here on the weekly. But obviously, we're being met by some sellers there. On the daily, a very strong outside reversal rejection candle there. It is intraday at the moment, still managing to find support on that daily top. So that's where the buyers and the sellers are finding it out. On gold, 118.5380. The buyers are just holding the market at that level. Sellers are in control at 118.77 at the moment. Your 4-hour trend structure is turning to down. You can see you've got a lower bottom, but we are getting some form of support on that daily resistance high, old resistance high there. So in all probability, we're going to come up and have a re-challenge of 118.77 at the moment. Price is rallying, drawing a fib. You could be, if you're wanting to be a seller, it's always great to be able to sell close to the resistance area that the market rejected. So up at this 79% level, 118.71, can you see failure there? That would be a great area to look to, you know, look for an intraday failure to get in. Maybe for then a move back down. All right, got rid of the chopper. Now my dog wants to have a go. All right, so we moved down. Are we going to rally back up to 79? Is that where the sellers come back into control? Then if they do, the question would be, can the sellers win out here to move back down this way? All right, that's what it would look like for the sellers. For the buyers, of course, buying pressure could be coming in right now and we could re-challenge up to the top of the range. All right, so you have to work out for yourself are you a buyer or a seller? If you position yourself in terms of where the strongest level of support or resistance is, this is daily support. That only got formed or 3 weeks ago maximum, okay? Whereas the weekly level got formed back in November at this high, but back in January 21. So the resistance level is a lot older, more proven to show strength than the daily level. So if I was looking to trade, I would trade where the strength is. Strength is with that weekly resistance. That will always be at a stronger level to trade from, rather than trying to trade up from a more recent level of day support. Okay, so work it out for yourself. I think this is going to come up for a challenge. I don't trade gold, so I won't have to worry about it. But if you like to trade gold, then no probability we're having a rally back up for a retest of 118.77. Do the sellers come in to control ahead of that level now, that weekly level of long-term resistance, to maybe fail at the 79% level? All right, so you can monitor that, work out what you want to do. All right, everybody, it is 8 o'clock. If you're on YouTube and you've been watching, thanks very much for attending. If you're on YouTube and you want to join us in the webinars, simply head over to the webinar page. That is acy.com, education webinars. And let me just refresh that page. So coming up tomorrow, bring it all together at 8 p.m. Sydney time. I'm going to go through all the tools I've been using, pulling them all together to show you how I come up with very strong support and resistance levels, a little bit like I'm doing tonight. But I've actually given you more explanation of how I'm doing it. I'll be giving you a PDF presentation that you can take away and study. Next Tuesday, 8 p.m, I'm going to go through trade setup, swing point break. I actually showed you a little bit of that tonight on the euro dollar. And then next Wednesday, Forex trading market analysis. And then next Thursday, limit order at a support resistance zone as a trade setup. I'm going to go through that. And I just wanted to go back to, before I finish, just wanted to see what that euro dollar is doing. How it's performing at that swing point break. All right, it's just making its mind up at the moment. Does it want to move down through that swing point? So you can monitor that. Of course, with any trade setup that you take, any signal, that is your signal to take an entry, nobody knows what the next candles are going to do. You have to have a good trading plan, entry and exit criteria, reason for taking a trade, and then when you see that reason, you take the trade. You need to trade over a series of trades. A series of trades for me is at least 20, much better to be 40 or 60, 100 ideal. Over a series of trades, taking the same exact trade setup, are you profitable? If you are, then it's what you should be doing is just taking that trade setup time and time again. Some will win, some will lose, but if you've proved to yourself over a series of trades that you're profitable, it doesn't matter whether a setup wins or loses, because you've already proved to yourself that you're profitable over a series of trades. There's always going to be a random distribution of wins, losses, and break-evens in that series of trades, and you just keep trading them out. And over a set of trades, you should be profitable if your trading strategy and edge is profitable. Okay. All right. So I'll leave you to think about what I've just said on that final note. And somebody's chatting to me, so I won't quite go yet. Bas Joe, you're saying the 200-day moving average euro dollar seems to be support resistance. We can have a look at that on the daily. I'm actually doing a video on the 200 moving average this week for the YouTube channel. So if you like the idea of that, then stay tuned. So we've already got this set at 200 exponential red moving average because I've been working on that today. So if you talk about 200-day moving average euro dollar seems to be support or resistance. Well, we're a bit short of it, but I get what you're saying. And right now where we're at, yes, we're short of it. Let me just squash this down. Back in the year, we can see here where it became resistance. So obviously here, if it got up to that level, which is about the 115.60 level at the moment, that would be obviously potentially resistance. We might not be able to get there because of weekly resistance here at 115.24, but I certainly get the point. What you're making is that back in time here, it's been resistance, and we're kind of getting up to the closeness of that area to offer resistance. And you're saying the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, not really telling me much there. It's kind of flat. And, if it was, I don't know really what it's telling me there. We've had a bit of 4-hour support there this week, but we have been below it. So I don't really know if that really tells me anything on the 4-hour. It does tell me something on the daily because we're clearly underneath it, and that could act as resistance if we wanted to trade down, because it's proved to be a dynamic level of resistance back in time through last year. All right, so you can monitor that level if you like to use that as a tool. In the video that I'm doing, I am actually going to be talking about dynamic support and resistance, and through this area, it was dynamic resistance. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks very much. Thanks for those questions. Thanks, Baz Joe. Thanks, everyone, for attending. It's always appreciated. So stay safe. Look forward to seeing you next time, which, if you've got the time, will be tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock. Okay. Thanks very much, everybody.